Too often, when we talk about rural activities, too many dismiss them as relics of a bygone age. Those of us who represent rural constituencies know that that could be nothing further from the truth. Horse riding remains a vital, living part of rural life, deeply embedded in the culture, economy and daily rhythms of our communities. That reality makes it all the more important that we take seriously both the safety of horses and the riders on our roads. My constituency is overwhelmingly rural, home to many stud farms, riding schools and equestrian centres that rely on local road networks as part of their everyday operation. Riders frequently use narrow country lanes, often with no pavements, limited passing places and little room for error. These roads were not designed for modern traffic speeds or volumes, yet they are shared by horses, cyclists, pedestrians and vehicles. For less experienced riders, these interactions can be especially intimidating. Horses can be easily startled by sudden movement or noise, and situations can escalate quickly if drivers approach at speed or pass too closely.
And makes an excellent point. In Buckinghamshire, we have many single-lane roads, country roads, and that is where many of the accidents do occur, and it would be wonderful if we could highlight that and how we address that moving forward.
I'm grateful to my honourable friend for raising that point. She is absolutely right, and I wish her a speedy recovery from her own horse-related incident. What may seem, Mr Dadd, a minor lapse in judgment from behind the wheel has serious and sometimes devastating consequences for riders and horses with limited ability to control for that rider a frightened horse. A further recurring challenge in rural areas is poor visibility. Constituents have contacted me about near misses on lanes with high grass verges and dense hedgerows, especially during the spring and summer. These conditions can severely restrict sightlines, meaning that horses and vehicles may appear suddenly, giving drivers little opportunity to reduce speed or pass with the care that safety demands. In response, I was pleased to see that Buckinghamshire Council, a council I know the government is keen to learn from, has worked constructively with the British Horse Society to introduce simple and effective measures in partnership. Now, Mr Dadd, horse riding is far from a niche pursuit. The British Equestrian Trade Association estimates more than 1.8 million people ride regularly, with around 3 million people participating overall. For many rural communities, riding is a source of well-being, fitness, employment and social connection. Yet all of that is undermined when riders and their horses feel unsafe simply travelling on the road. One death, of course, is always one too many. And whilst departmental data records a relatively small number of fatalities in recent years, there remains far too many serious incidents. The British Horse Society's Horse IAP recorded that 58 horses were killed in equine road-related incidents, with more than 3,100 incidents in 2024 alone. Many of these involve drivers passing too closely, with devastating consequences. Now, it's been raised in this debate that there were changes to the Highway Code under the previous government, which significantly strengthened protections for horses and riders. The introduction of the hierarchy of road users was important, but the reforms went further, including clearer guidance on passing distances and how drivers should behave when encountering horses at junctions. And whilst the current government has published its road safety strategy, it is difficult to see horse riding as a clear priority within that. Despite describing the strategy as being for everyone, horses receive only limited mention, and there were no references at all in the consultation on proposed changes to motoring offence penalties. That raises fair questions about how the government intends to strengthen protections for riders in practice, and I would welcome greater clarity from the Minister on this point, as well as an explanation as to why the Think Road Safety campaign budget was cut by £1.2 million last year. So could the Government Minister therefore set out what specific campaigns the Government intends to introduce to ensure drivers are aware of their responsibilities when encountering horses, particularly in rural areas where these interactions are most common? Because ultimately, rules are only meaningful if they are understood and enforced. Dangerous driving that intimidates or endangers horses and riders must be taken seriously, and penalties should properly reflect the risk posed by such behaviour.